The following program is sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.
Welcome to Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, we're visiting the new Verona Area High School to learn the role laborers play in building Wisconsin. So let's get started with Superintendent Dean Gorrell. Well, Dean, awesome to have you on Building Wisconsin today, and I gotta believe you're pretty proud seeing your baby come to fruition.
Yeah, it's a big baby. We're really proud of it. It's a tribute to our community to trust us to fund something like this. So we're really excited to get into it a little over a year from now.
Sure, well, on today's show, we want to learn more about the laborer's role throughout the process, but before we get into that, I wanted to start with you and learn more about what led Verona to build this new high school.
Growth is what led us to this new high school. So we've been working with the demographer since 2006, doing projections of enrollment for us, and we got to a point where we were convinced that there was going to be enough growth to justify a building of this size in our community. So that's where it all started, 2006. And then we had a referendum to buy land in 2015, a referendum to finance this building in 2017. So it's been a long process.
And throughout that process, were you guys concerned about ultimately who was going to build it? And by concerned, I mean, did the idea of let's get a local, highly skilled, highly trained workforce here, local companies, people within the community, members that are going to utilize the educational services ultimately here?
Absolutely. So it should be an interest of any taxpayer who's funding any building project, who's building the building. Because this is going to be here for 100 years. This is going to be here for generations. And so I don't want to be standing here 10 years from now answering questions about why the building is falling apart. So it was absolutely an interest of ours. And then beyond that, we wanted to the extent that we could, have workers who had some contact with the community working on this.
Like a vested interest.
A vested interest. And I can't tell you the number of women and men who have kids who are going to go to this school, who have been to the Verona Area School District from all ages. And so that really helps cement the purpose, it helps cement the commitment to building just a high quality building.
So when it came time for the bidding process, I mean, to me it seems as though it wasn't like a typical project where you just put it out to bid and just trust the general contractor to come back with the workers. I mean, you guys took a vested interest in learning who the subs were and really dwelled into each role in this building.
Absolutely. So we did interviews for our construction manager, we did interviews for our architect, we did interviews for big scopes of work like all the site work. This is a huge site. We did interviews for our HVAC and for our electricals and with all the generals that we have on site here. By we, meaning our board was involved in that too. So they have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers of this community. This was a $182 million bond referendum that passed overwhelmingly. So they were heavily invested in that whole process. There are billions of dollars in the last few years that have passed through school referendum for building projects. And so every single taxpayer in any one of those communities should be invested in who is building these buildings.
Well, what I always say on Building Wisconsin is we're fortunate to live here in this great state. We have a highly skilled, highly trained workforce. Why would you ever look out of state to hire someone to build a building that's going to be in our community for over 100 years?
Exactly.
Sure. Well, at the end of the day, this is going to be beautiful. How many students are going to have the wonderful opportunity to be educated here?
Well, over those 100 years, tens and tens of thousands of them. But on opening day, we have about 1,700 kids in our high school right now, so it'll be a little north of that. This building is built for a capacity of 2,200 with an extension that can go on right there for another 300, so that would put it at 2,500. And at that point, the community has to have another conversation, do we open a second high school?
Sure, but right now, for the next 100 years, they have an iconic structure they can be proud of.
We already are very proud of it. It's going to be awesome.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and shedding some light on the process.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, Kevin, at last, a beautiful spring day. It's a long time coming, but the guys are making some great headway on this project out in Verona.
Thanks for having me. Yes, it is a great, beautiful day to see something like this getting put in place.
Now, is this considered a pretty big project for Findorff?
Yes, it is one of our bigger projects that we have going right now. It's a very big school project. We do anything from small special projects all the way up to big commercial jobs like this.
And with all the referendums that passed this year, looks like the future looks bright, not only for Findorff, but laborers if they want to get into this field.
Yes, future's very bright. We have a lot of work coming up in the next couple of years, so we're going to be very busy in the upcoming years.
What is your role here with Findorff on this project?
I place the laborers in our company with Findorff. Right now we have anywhere between 120 to 160 any given time working for us, so it's my job to put them in the right place.
Okay, so on these projects, and this one in particular, how many laborers are out here?
There's probably between 35 and 40 here right now.
Does that vary on a daily basis?
It sure does. Sometimes, you know, if bad weather, the snow comes or something, we got to get rid of the snow on the project, or if they're having a concrete pour, they'll ask for more help. So on any given day, there could be 5 to 6 more people here, or 5 or 6 less.
Is it fair to say that being a laborer is a diverse career?
Yes, it is a diverse career because being a laborer, you're fetching material for just about everybody on the project. You have to pretty much know everybody's trade.
So you're really the glue that holds a project like this together, because if you're assisting every other trade, you're working with the iron workers, with the operators, with the masons. I mean, all of them that it takes to build a beautiful new school. At the end of the day, the laborers are the one that are working with all of them. So I got to believe their training must be very important.
Training's very important. Like I said, you have to learn everybody's job because you're the one getting the material for them.
Sure, and safety plays an important role too?
Safety is the biggest part of anything. On any given day, there's 200 people out here running around. As you can see, there's forklifts, cranes, there's the roofers are working, the masons are working. There's a constant flow around here, so you got to be aware of what's around your surroundings.
It sounds like you're pretty happy that you selected this as a career.
I am very happy, yes.
Yeah.
25 years I've been doing this.
Holy cow, is there opportunity for people to become laborers throughout our state, not just here in southern Wisconsin?
There sure is. Laborers have locals in all parts of the state.
And so if you're watching today's show and you're up in Superior, in Green Bay, you're over in Platteville, there's opportunities to become a laborer and enjoy working on projects like this?
Yes, there is.
Well, with all the different laborers that it takes to put a project like this together and have it done on time, on budget, and completed in a safe manner, it seems at the end of the day, the safety and training is of the utmost importance.
Yes, they are the utmost important. We want everybody to go home safe at the end of the day. That's the main goal.
Well, on Building Wisconsin today, it's awesome because not only did we have you on, we get to see this project, we're going to head out to the training center near Madison to learn more about what it takes to become a laborer. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Stu. Thanks for having me.
Wow, Craig, what a marvelous facility. You know, when I pulled in the parking lot, it reminded me of a small college.
Well, thank you. We think of it that way ourselves.
Now, a lot of training hands-on goes on, but also classroom.
Oh, exactly. Our classes are set up to be about 40% classroom and 60% hands-on because we find that is the best way that our members learn. So we have gotten great results in the entire time I've been here.
Okay, now does training go on year-round at this facility?
Our training season is normally from about September all the way through the beginning of May. And in that time frame, we've actually been climbing up every year. When I started, we did about 1,200 students a year. Last year, we did over 2,800.
2,800
students.
So
yep.
To me, that really shows that it is a college in the sense of a learning environment.
It exactly is. This is a great head start for anybody who wants to get into the trades. They have great opportunities here and they can advance their skills or refresh their skills if they haven't used it in a while.
Now you say anybody who wants to get into the trade. So can anybody come out here and take these courses?
Well, you have to be a union member to come take these courses, and we do have ways for anybody to come and try to get into the union.
Okay, so you first have to become a member, and then is there a cost to it for your members to take these courses?
Well, how this place is funded is per hour that our members work, so many pennies go towards training. So when they come here, this is all free. And if they live far enough away, we will actually house them for the weeks that they're here for training.
Okay, so really when we talk about the organized trades in our state, all these different training centers, yours is no different. It's funded by the members.
Exactly. That is exactly correct.
Okay, so if I'm interested in becoming a professional construction worker, in this case, becoming a laborer, what is involved in that process?
Well, the first steps we have is we have state testing, that is the state AccuPlacer test. So we have several dates that's on our website, which is wisconsinlaborers.org, and they can look at our testing dates for the apprenticeship program. They come in and they take that state test, and if they pass, we give them a letter of introduction that they take out to the contractors, and they'll get a list of contractors for whatever part of the state they're in. It is their job to sell themselves to that contractor. At that point, if the contractor agrees to allow them in, they send us the letter back. We send them another letter that contractor signs it saying we agree to hire this person, and at that point, they are now started in the apprenticeship program.
Okay, so there is a specific process you need to follow.
Exactly.
But hey, once you get in, what a great career, getting to work outside. And let's face it, the contractors, they need professionally trained laborers out there because you guys are the glue that holds it all together.
You are exactly right. We are the backbone and the most diversified trade out there. We help everybody, whether it's building site, bridge work, sewer, water work. We are tied into every project.
Okay, well, if you have time, let's go see what the guys are learning in today's class.
Awesome, let's go.
Wow, this is pretty cool. I mean, this is another one of your bays here. Looks like the guys are learning something on rigging. But before we get into exactly what they're doing, you touched on it in the other bay about how you're such a diverse trade. And you said, you know, sewer and water and general construction, highway.
Yep.
Get more specific so a viewer understands what a laborer's role is on a construction
Well,
project.
we have several different roles. If we're on a sewer water crew, we could be a top man, we could be the pipe layer, or we could even be the foreman out there. So we cover a lot of aspects in sewer water. On bridge work, we're up there helping strip the decks, re-pour it, form it up, everything else. If we're on a building site, we might help place concrete, we might be doing general cleanup, we might be helping the iron workers or the carpenters. So we have a lot of different trades there, and we're normally the first ones on the job site and the last ones to leave. So we're helping do the setup and the cleanup.
Another thing that I notice amongst the trades is the partnership. And then by partnership, I mean you are working with the operators, you're working with the steam fitters, the plumbers, the carpenters. Really, that's what makes our construction industry so strong here in our state.
You're right. It is the teamwork between all the trades, knowing that we are there to help each other and be productive as possible.
Again, every day is a new challenge if you're a laborer, so if you're looking for variety, which they say is the spice of life, a laborer might be the career for you.
Exactly, because you have so many choices you can make.
Again, assisting all the other trades to get the project done on time and on budget. Now,
Exactly.
What exactly are they doing here with the rigging?
So in this class is the hoist rig class. It is a 5-day course, and we are using a robotic mini crane to help these students learn how to properly rig materials so that they can safely be transported on the job. So this student right now is learning how to use a tagline and hand signals to move this I-beam over to another area. So the students are learning how to do the rigging, and my instructor is running the mini crane.
Oh, okay, so a laborer wouldn't be necessarily running the equipment. That's a different trade, but you are the ones that are in charge of rigging it and safely moving it from one area of a site to another.
Correct. So in this program, we will actually teach our laborers how to do use and operation of this crane, just so they know if it's on the job site, they can help maintenance it and know how it runs. But primarily, it is to learn how to safely move materials.
Okay, and so is this a pretty typical size class that I see here? What is there? There's got to be close to 10 members?
Actually, this is a small size class. We go up to about 20 students in the class. For the hoist rig, we like to keep it around 15 for the most hands-on experience we can get for our students.
And you know what I love best is it's indoor. So
Yep.
like you think of this past winter when it was 20 below zero, you could still be training people in comfort here.
Exactly, and that's why this place was built the way it was, because most of our training is in winter when people are laid off. And you can't do a lot of things when it is below zero. One of our core classes that we have right here is blueprint reading, and this happens to be a blueprint of our existing building that we built in '04.
Okay, now you mentioned earlier that it is an apprenticeship that they're going through.
Yep.
And what's involved in fulfilling all the requirements of the apprenticeship?
Well, our apprenticeship program starts off with 400 hours of classroom training that they have to fulfill and 4,000 hours of field work that they have to get done. What we do is our classes start at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning, and they're block training. So whether it's a 1-week course, a 2-week course, or a 3-week course, you are here from Monday through Friday to get your 40 hours in per week. Now, that's not all of our courses. Some of them are only 1 day long or up to 3 days long. But you are here all day and you are immersed in that program.
Okay, so you said this is a basic blueprint reading course. Do most of your courses involve classroom training and hands-on training out in the bays?
Yes, our classes are set up so they're about 40% classroom and 60% hands-on. So for example, as you see, these students right now are going through blueprints and they're trying to solve the problems that we have written on their forms for them, so they have to look forward and back through the blueprints to find that information out. The second half of the day, they will actually go out into that training bay behind us here, and they will lay out an exercise off that blueprint.
Oh, wow. I can see why the partnership is so strong between you and your contractors, because these are going to be highly trained individuals. They're already going to know what to do when they get out on site.
And that is our goal. 80 hours of training in this class should make them well prepared to do the job.
Okay, I don't know all that much about blueprints, but one thing I do know is it usually involves a lot of math. Is that important in this trade?
Math is huge with our trade, and math is in everything we do, if you think about it. Anywhere from elevations to figuring quantities, you have to know how to do math to improve your skill set.
But at the end of the day, if I'm a hardworking individual and I want to get into this trade and I don't have any construction experience, will I still get accepted into the program?
Yes, you will. As we talked about before, you have to pass the AccuPlacer test and get yourself tied into a contractor, and that skill set will be taught to you here. We get a lot of new apprentices that come in that have never done construction work before.
You know, it might sound like a lot, but really, probably a couple years, get that under your belt.
Yep. We'll have some that will complete around the 2 to 2.5 year mark. Others may take up to 3 to 5 years to get through it. It's all on a pace and where they live in the state for how much work is out there.
Sure, but at the end of the day, if you're a hardworking individual and have a good work ethic, this is a great career to get into.
It is. And exactly, I love what you said, career. The sky's the limit.
Wow, in this classroom, there's a bunch of welding bays. I never envisioned laborers knowing how to weld.
Well, it's one of those skill set things that we train to make our members the most diversified out there. You never know what you're going to do on a job site, so we try to make sure they have every little chance possible to keep working.
And you know, when I was reviewing your website and looking at all the different courses, to me it almost seems like you can specialize within the laborer's trade. I mean, I know that earlier you mentioned that you work with all the different trades, but to me, the specialization opportunities that exist out there for students is just remarkable.
We are the most diverse trade, and when you get into it, you really need to know what you're doing for that specific trade. So we will allow students, if they're journeymen, to cater to what they need. With apprentices, we try to cater their classes over to the type of work they're doing. But I strongly recommend to everybody take as many different courses as you can, because the more knowledge you have, the more you're going to work, and the better your career is going to be.
Boy, well, that makes sense. And as I see a facility like this and all the different bays, all the different classrooms, it really rings true the partnership with you and your signatory contractors, the benefit that this provides those contractors, because it would be hard to replicate this training out in the field.
How true? Because there's no way that a building contractor will have people with this kind of experience that can be freed up to train their employees the way we can. We are so diversified, and we have members that are willing to come in here and train the winter to help better the future.
So when you talk about your instructors for all the different courses you offer, are there certain requirements of those?
Well, to begin with, I'm looking for somebody that's got experience about 10 years in their area of our trade. And at that point, I look at, are they good communicators? Can they teach across? After that, what I really prefer is that they come through our training center so I know who they are, they know how our system works. Another example of what I'm looking for is this welding class. My instructor for this one is state certified. Now, we don't state certify here, but when they go through our 2-week course, if they feel they're ready, he will work with them to prepare them as far as they can so they can go test. We'll give them the paperwork, they go to a local testing facility by where they live, and for each one they pass, we will reimburse them that cost.
Wow, that is awesome. So you prepare them to further their career. And not only in welding, but do they get certificates of completion for all the courses here?
Well, most of our courses are going to get some kind of a certificate, but to get that, they have to earn it. And most of the classes have a final exam that they have to prove to us 80% of a skill set. If they don't get that 8% on the written exam, what we do is we try to roll them back over to that class again when it's still fresh in their mind to make sure that they understand those concepts so they can build on it and pass. But also with that written exam, as you saw earlier with that hoist rig class, there is a physical component, and that's part of our 60% of hands-on. You also have to understand the safety and actually doing the work to get that certificate.
Well, not unlike college, there's checks and balances. I mean, it's not just doing time and coming and doing a 2-week course. You got to prove that you learned something there. And at the end of the day, let's face it, that benefits the student, it benefits the contractor, and it benefits the owner who's hired all these individuals to build the best possible product for them.
And that is our goal, to have the best trained workforce out there. And exactly what you said, better trained employees get more work, more production, and a better quality product, and everybody wants that.
Craig, I see OSHA 30 on the door here, the class going on. Is this for safety?
Yes, it is. This is one of our key safety classes, and we try to make sure that all of our members are getting trained in it.
Now, what exactly does OSHA 30 stand for?
Well, OSHA 30 is 30 hours of training in OSHA's book. So that is the minimum standards that we want to follow to keep everybody safe. That doesn't mean they can't go above and beyond, but these are the minimum standards out there so they can recognize the hazards.
Now, there's an OSHA 30, but there's also an OSHA 10?
Correct. OSHA 10 would be 10 hours of safety, and we could do those, but we prefer to have the students have 30 hours of it, because they're going to be able to recognize more hazards, it's more in depth, and they're going to be better trained to stop accidents on a job site.
Well, that really makes sense to me, and if it makes sense to me, I got to believe it makes sense to an owner who's hiring it, the contractor. I mean, just from a liability standpoint, you want to make sure that everybody understands the hazards that are out there and can operate safely.
Exactly right, and we actually have partnership with our contractors to make this one of our rules out there, that we want everybody the best trained. They want it and we want it, because nobody wants to see anybody go home hurt, or worst of all, have a fatality on the job.
Okay, give me an example of what they're learning in an OSHA 30 class.
Okay, right now at this moment in time, they're learning about confined space. Now, confined space is an area that is not designed for us to be in, to live in, has limited access or exit out of it, and may contain a potential hazard. So they are learning that they can look innocent. This could be a manhole, this could be a silo on a farm, this could be anything like that, a tank car. We want them to know they might look innocent, because you can't always see a danger, you can't always see a chemical. Check it out before you enter. Make sure you have somebody with you, and don't enter if you don't know what's been in there.
So at the end of the day, the more knowledge you have on safety, the safer the job site's going to be, and that's not only for the individual, but all the tradespeople and anybody visiting the site.
Exactly, because everybody's a unique individual, and you may not think something looks dangerous, but somebody else may think it is. And as a teamwork, you decide, hey, maybe we should check this out before we do something. And the more people that have those eyeballs out there looking, the safer everything becomes. All right, Stu, as you can see in here, this is part of our 1 week long scaffolding class. And at the moment, the students are learning how to put together system scaffold. So this is one of 4 types of scaffold that we actually teach in here. On building site, this is a key to getting that project done. Whether you are putting in bracing for the floor to be poured, that is a type of scaffold. Whether you're putting up scaffolding so you can do masonry work, type of scaffold. As you can see, we have a variety of different scaffolding here, from a systems to right behind it, we have a hydromobile, and if you look around, we have frame and tube and clamp. We teach you on the 4 main types so that they are proficient, and when they go out to a job site, they can build it safely.
And you know, I bet a lot of the viewership on today's show, you don't even give scaffolding a second thought. It's like, oh, how important can that be? But really, with just the 4 different types you mentioned there, and seeing how important it is to all the other trades, it needs to get set up properly and moved around the construction site in order to keep it operating like a well-oiled machine.
Yep, to keep the flow of the job going, it's very important that you have a skilled crew that knows how to set it up safely. And to set it up safely, you not only need to know math, you need to know how to level and plumb, but you need to understand the aspects of that job site. And that's where all of our other classes, such as Blueprint that we saw earlier, ties in to being able to do this job well.
And now, how long did you say this particular course lasts?
This is 1 week long, 40 hours.
And will they get a certificate at the end of it that they know how to do scaffolding?
What they're actually going to get is we call it a hard card. It's like an ID card with their photo on it, with their name, and on the back is a QR code scan card. They scan it, and it lists up all their classes and when the expiration dates are, and what they need to do to refresh.
Boy, that's a great case in point. It shows how the industry continues to evolve, and the laborers are no different. I mean, you use cutting-edge technology so everybody can rest assured they have the best qualifications for the job.
Exactly. And it not only works for them to know their expiration dates, but the contractor can also scan it, go to that unique website, see what that member has, and know when the refresher dates are to help schedule them.
Boy, that's awesome. Great peace of mind again for me, and it's got to be a great system for the contractors as well, because they can go ahead and do what they're best at, and that is building our great quality of life here in Wisconsin.
Exactly. It streamlines it for everybody to give us the best product we can.
John, I love to see all the trades busy out here at the new Verona Area High School. And throughout today's show, we've learned the importance of the laborers. And one thing I'm walking away with is how diverse that career is.
Yeah, when you say diversification, that's what laborers are. They work with all the trades, you assist all the trades. As you saw in some of the things around here, we saw the mason tenders that were mixing the mud, getting the block ready. The laborer that's driving the forklift is bringing all the materials to the job site there, taking things away. So as far as diversification, yeah, you can work with many different trades. You're the first one on the job and the last one off the job. And when we talk about this job site here, you can see there's a lot of areas that need to get cleaned up. The labor's got to make sure that's cleaned up so it's a safe work site, because that's what we want to make sure it's very safe.
And those are the two things, the training to become a laborer and the safety. Those are the underlying themes that I heard from everybody we had on today's show, whether it was the superintendent, whether it was a foreman from Findorff, whether we were out with Craig at the training center, or now you finishing up. It's great to hear how important safety is, because we want everybody, not just the laborers, everybody to go home safe at the end of the day.
Well, that's the number one priority for us, the contractors, and for everyone involved, is safety. Training is part of that. You saw all the different things at our training center to get the laborer ready to come out to a job site like this. So when he or she comes out on a job site, not are they trained, but they're safe too. And that's the main thing about a job site here, is safety and training.
Yeah, and between everything we've learned about today, laborers is a great career. And again, it is not a job, it's a career to get into. And if I'm interested, no matter where I'm in the state, as I understand it, there's training centers and there's locals that can assist me.
I'm glad you said a career too, because it's very true. It is a career. We have good health benefits, good pension benefits. But when you talked about the state, we have 5 locals throughout the state: Milwaukee, Madison, Eau Claire, La Crosse, the Valley, Green Bay. So no matter where you are from the state, you can go in that area if you want to stay in that community, so you can work there. But the nice thing is you can work all around. If you want to travel around the state, you can go to each local and work wherever you want in the state.
Well, flexibility is the key, no matter what you want. If you want to work outside, and as I understand it, be a hardworking individual and dedicated to your profession, sky's the limit with the laborers.
And when you talk about elements, you work out in the cold, you work out in the heat. You got to like to work outside, and you got to like to work with your hands, and there's a lot of physical labor, no question about it. But this job site here is a perfect example of our partnership that we have with our contractors. Findorff and ourselves, we sit on a lot of different committees together, so it's all about working together.
Well, couldn't have said it better myself. I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully in a future episode of Building Wisconsin, we'll get to see the end result.
That would be fantastic. Thank you very much.
The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.